How did Tailgate get started?
Well, it got started because I sold Snowboard Magazine. I started Snowboard Magazine, and I sold it to Storm Mountain Publishing. And I decided that after I sold it, I had some money and I was going to take the best snowboard vacation I could imagine. And so I came to Valdez because I thought it was the best place on the planet that I'd ever been anyway. And I had a vacation with a buddy of mine, and it was just me and him, and then like all of these pros like Jussi Oksanen and Andreas Wigg and Bjorn Linus and like the whole MacDog crew. And it's basically me and my buddy hanging out and them hanging out in this parking lot right there. And it was such a phenomenal experience on the drive home. I was like, man, I got to figure out a way to share this with more people. And that's what became Tailgate, I guess. That idea is what like led to Tailgate. That's how it began. That was 2007, 2008 was the first Tailgate Alaska.
Was Nick Peralta, did he fit into the equation at all?
No, I mean not in the planning or the idea of it. I mean, he was the host of the event for a few years, you know, and so his job was to shake hands and kiss babies, and he's really good at that. Honestly, he's really, you know, good at that. So, but I would say that, you know, the idea came really from just this personal experience I had. And I had been up here before. You know, I competed in the King of the Hill, the original one, in the 90s, and so I knew how good it was. But I really was more affected by the riding here than the contest. You know, and the contest was cool, but I didn't need to prove myself to anybody. You know, I was here to write a story for a magazine. That's what, you know, that's how I got here, actually. Same way as you.
Cool. So, you know, a lot of riders come to Alaska to get away from people. How do you think an event like Tailgate, where hundreds of people come, balances that individualism?
Well, I think there's just still enough room here, you know, even with the amount of people we have, and I don't think it should get any bigger, really. I think it's about the right size. You know, I think that really for the amount of powder that you have, I mean, we look at it now, I would say this is about as close to track as I've ever seen it, ever. You know, we just had like 10 days in a row of bluebird conditions, and so that's about the right amount of people. But as far as being an individual here, I think there's room to be an individual, and that's what I think everyone finds here, is that there's their own line. You don't need to share your tracks. Even with 500 people hanging around for 10 days, you still can find your own line. And you can still be an individual as a rider.
Sure,
or you just don't come during Tailgate.
yeah. It's always here.
Yeah, it's always here. We just come for 10 days. It's kind of like, you know, I think those people, the people who would be naysayers, would actually be stoked, because it's kind of like one of those, you know, blue bug zappers. It just draws the people in for these 10 days, and then, you know, come Monday, I'll have it to myself. I will.
Yep.
So. Yeah,
and you know, it's good having the group too, because there's a lot of information flying around, you know, safety-wise.
Yeah, my goal is that, like, I know it's going to be a good time. Once you get in these mountains, it's going to be, the experience is real, you know. So my goal is that everyone goes home a little bit smarter, and that they learn something about, talk about like snow science, about how to be safe out there, crevasse rescue, or, you know, relationships with people or whatever, right? There's a lot of interesting experiences that people have out here, and hopefully it's a learning experience for everyone.
Yep. Cool, just a couple more here. Valdez has always been a pilgrimage for snowboarders. In a lot of ways, Haines is the new Valdez. Did you ever think about doing Tailgate there?
Yeah, I've thought about it. But this is the spot right here. Look at the access you have. I mean, look, uphill, every direction, unlimited access. You don't have that in Haines. And so for unless you're on like some kind of crazy sponsorship budget, you can't afford to actually access the mountains. Like, I run this shit and I can't afford the helis.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the nice thing about the sled. You just go to hell.
Oh yeah, man, I love sledding because it's like, and actually, I'd like, you know, for years I sledded just for snowboarding, and I've come to enjoy the sledding now in and of itself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, Borgstead wanted us to ask you if you remember the time at King of the Hill when you and MFM tagged his door with pizza and duct tape.
No, I don't remember that, but it's entirely possible I took part in that. But you know,
Probably a lot of shenanigans.
yeah, there still are. You know, it's still the same kind of thing. So Borgstead, I'm calling you out. You show up here next year because I want to hang out with you right here at Tailgate. That's what's up.
Sweet, man.